here we are in the Life Insurance Awareness Month. We want to make everyone aware of life insurance. And the thing about being aware of life insurance is even understanding insurance, period. And so I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of information. I've been in this industry for about 25 years, and I've learned a few things, and hopefully I could share some of it with you guys. So we're going to be talking about why life insurance is for everyone. All right. There's a lot of conflicting thought processes out there about life insurance, and hopefully we can dispel some of those this evening. So what is insurance? Can we just deal with insurance? And this is my definition. You can Google it, you can come up with what you think, but based on my years of experience, insurance is a process or a financial tool by which a person or a company seeks to manage, mitigate, or control the effects of a loss experienced by themselves or to another for which they are liable, right? So this process seeks to transfer the financial risk or responsibility of restoration to an institution of greater financial capabilities, for a set cost or premium. I used to say insurance is when a lot of people pay a little bit of money so that they can have access, so that a few people can have access to a lot of money when they need it. How about that street term? A lot of people pay a little bit of money so that a few people can have access to a lot of money when they need it. And every now and then the numbers go off and they go wrong. So it's like homeowners insurance. When you have 2 or 3 hurricanes in one area, the risk becomes too high. Companies start to pull out. But insurance, you have various types of insurance. You have life insurance, you have auto insurance, you have homeowners insurance, you got commercial insurance, and all of these have these different areas, just like in life insurance, you have your term insurance, then you have your whole life and universal life and index universal life and variable universal life. Then you have your final expense and your supplemental policies and on and on. But we're not going to get into all of that. We're going to talk about life insurance. And the thing about life insurance is that we believe that life insurance is for lifestyle protection, income replacement, wealth transfer, legacy building, and also for developing a lifetime tax-free retirement income. Okay? A lot of the wealth in this country has been transferred via life insurance. Many families have worked hard and purchased a nice size life insurance program, knowing that they may not enjoy it, but in the future, that policy was going to push the family forward or allow the family to start a business or something like that. So people made sacrifices to move their families forward. And that's great. But the good thing is that was when life insurance was just, really, if you think about it, it was just for when you die. And so it was all about dying, right? But back in 1937, we had a company that introduced what's called living benefits for the first time. And this was a game changer in the marketplace. These living benefits allowed a person to access funds from the face value of the life insurance policy while they are alive. That is a game changer. Now, for the first time now, life insurance really becomes about living rather than just dying, right? I struggled with that in the beginning because the first time someone tried to explain this life insurance thing to me, The next word they said was, and when you die. I'm saying, wait a minute. I thought you said it was life insurance. They say, yeah, it's life insurance when you die. I said, no, I don't understand that. If you're going to sell me a life insurance program, talk to me about life. But, I guess I'm just a simple guy, right? But the truth is, if they called it death insurance, you wouldn't buy it. So they had to give it a name that they know that they could, make a sale. But once this company introduced living benefits, the life insurance program really became what it was supposed to be. And so we had all kinds of thoughts in our minds about who should have a life insurance policy and who should not. As a matter of fact, we were just looking it up earlier, and there's a school of thought that says if you don't have a lot of responsibility, if you're single or something like that, you don't need life insurance. That is wrong. That is completely wrong. And I'll prove that to you. But living benefits is a game changer. Living benefits is the reason why we can look at this whole thing differently. See, this addition to the life insurance policy truly made it a financial tool for life rather than for death, right? So we're going to talk about life and living and family. See, how about, students? And people say, well, they just students. They don't have a job. They're not paying bills. Do you know the kind of bills that these guys can create when they have an accident? Right? So, I mean, everybody is worth protecting, right? So the thing is this, because a human being is born with an incalculable value, we are worth much more than any object or building or animal on earth. Therefore, we possess a value that should be protected against losses, right? When you think about a child has tremendous current value, but also a future value, right? An adolescent has a current value and a close future value. I mean, it's like they're getting up there, getting ready to graduate. They're going to become a this or that and make money or whatever the case is, right? An adult have an immediate and a future value. Now you're a dad or you're a mom and you got bills, and your value is right now and for the future also. All of the above have some possibility, though, of becoming a liability. You have great value, but you have a possibility of becoming a tremendous liability. That's why we have this big old hospital called Texas Children's Hospital, because children become ill. And they don't have to get sick. They can just be in an accident. Accidents happen all the time. And school shootings and, all kinds of things happen. And so now there's medical care. There is all sorts of costs and a lot of the income is disrupted because now a parent has to be there with the child. What about your job? What about the income you're making to take care of your lifestyle, right? Not just Texas Children, but how about St. Jude's and some of the other, right? Then we got all sorts of hospitals here in town. Why? Because adults get sick all the time. Accidents all the time. 30-year-olds with heart attacks. 35-year-olds with strokes. That used to be something that happened to the older people, right? But it's happening all the time today. And so how do we handle this, right? How about the elderly, right? How about MD Anderson? How about being disabled? How about these things? So as you become elderly, you have a greater possibility to become a liability. It happens. Now, if you're single, you say, well, I don't have kids, I don't have a spouse, then who's going to take care of you? You definitely need life insurance, especially with living benefits, because you got to pay somebody to do the job now. And being able to have a program that you don't have to die to access funds from the program. And when we talk about accessing funds from the program while you are alive, we're not talking about 50,000 or 10,000. We're talking about the possibilities of accessing $1 million. The greater the illness, the greater the cost of the care, right? So, most of my life, I had never been to the hospital. Never. Till about, let's see, first time I went to the hospital was about, I want to say about 8 years ago. That's my first hospital stay. Since then, I've been in the hospital almost I think 5 times. Isn't that crazy? You go from 0 to 5 times in about 8 years. It happens, right? Now, before the first time, you couldn't tell me about no hospital. I just visit people. That's it. I mean, I don't get sick. I just visit people. But it happens. And so what we're saying is you got to protect yourself, right? So when you think about these things, you think about the cost. Now, while you're in the hospital getting treatment, what happens to the bills? While you're in the hospital with the kids, while they're getting treatment, so what happens to the bills? How do we deal with that? That's why everyone needs life insurance, especially life insurance with living benefits. Does that make sense? The school of thought used to be, well, you don't need much for the kids because they don't bring in any money, and about 10 or 15,000, that's all it takes to bury him. That was the old way of thinking about it, because life insurance was only for funerals. But today, I say today, started back in 1937, and sadly, the word didn't get around fast enough for many people. But the truth is, life insurance and living benefits is for much more than dying. And so, like I mentioned, lifestyle protection, income replacement, all those great things, which is what I believe, and many of us believe life insurance is for. If you buy life insurance for those things, guess what? You always have funeral money. But if you buy life insurance just for funeral, there's a great possibility that you or your family may lose everything else you have. Now, why is that? Because you didn't protect it, right? I can give you stories. I mean, working in Medicare, in a Medicare field for about 17 or 18 years, countless stories of people that were doing great, but because of an illness, all of a sudden now they are reduced to living with a family member. They have things called a spin down. They're trying to divest themselves of whatever little they have, whatever they were able to put together, so that they can get some assistance from the state called Medicaid. The spin down. You spend a whole life building a lifestyle, then to try to spin it down makes no sense. And so the thing about that is, from the smallest one of us to the eldest one of us, which one of us don't have value? We all have value. We all are assets. All of us are assets. And so the way I see it is, any asset that is not properly protected runs the risk of becoming a tremendous liability. Any asset not protected run the risk of becoming a tremendous liability. When you look at the family and you look at every member of the family, from the children all the way to the grandparents, right? There is value. All of that must be protected. And this is why life insurance is for everyone, especially life insurance with living benefits. Now, that's what we're talking about. Life insurance with living benefits. So listen, I'm excited about bringing this type of information to the community. We like to keep it simple. We like to make it understandable for everyone. There are a lot of misinformation, and sometimes it's not so much misinformation, but information that needs to be upgraded. I mean, we upgrade everything else, right? Oh, we upgrade our cars, we upgrade our cell phones. They want to do the cell phones every year, right? You get glasses this year. Next year, they say you need new glasses. We upgrade everything, but yet still we're running on information from the early 1900s. Information that should have been upgraded in 1937. I think we need to do some catching up, right? And so we're getting the word out to everyone, everywhere, that life insurance is not just for funerals. Life insurance is for lifestyle protection, income replacement, wealth transfer, legacy building, and also for creating a lifetime tax-free retirement income. We want to thank you guys for allowing us to share this information with the community. We do this every Tuesday. We want to invite you back to come back and get some more information. We're going to be breaking it down this month, which is Life Insurance Awareness Month. We're going to go into some more details on the different types of life insurance. We're going to talk about living benefits in depth. We're going to talk about, cash value life insurance so that the community can have a better understanding. We're going to even talk about the term life insurance, which in my opinion is one of the most important and most misunderstood and most misrepresented programs in our community. But we're going to be dealing with with those topics this week, every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. So you want to invite your friends and your family to come join us. So I'm going to turn it back over to my host, Ms. Kimberly Williams. My name is John Robinson. You guys have a blessed night.